we are now presenting our 2021 ACHP HUD Secretary's Award for Excellence in Historic Preservation. This national annual award will be presented to the Milwaukee Soldiers Home project, which repurposed historic buildings into veterans housing. The ACHP's involvement with this project goes back several years. Our former chairman, Amy Drajani, visited the site. She attended the groundbreaking and she announced a $500,000 Save America Treasures grant from the National Park Service at that time. In addition, and not surprisingly, the project was one of the ACHP's Section 106 success stories. So the exciting part now is that we're going to be live at the old main building at the Soldiers Home in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, transporting you in a Star Trek type way. And we'll be ready in just a minute, I believe. Jim Cunningham, who is HUD's Deputy Regional Administrator for the Midwest, will make the presentation to Mayor Tom Barrett for the Housing Authority of the City of Milwaukee, and Jonathan Beck, the Development Project Manager for the Alexander Company, a friend who spoke to our Leveraging Federal Historic Buildings Working Group last year about the benefits of VA's Enhanced Use Lease Program. Also, other key partners in this extraordinary project will be honored. This award, I should note, recognizes developers, organizations, and agencies for their success in advancing the goals of historic preservation, while at the same time providing affordable housing and or expanded economic opportunities for low and moderate income families and individuals. We are very, very grateful to be partnering with the Department of Housing and Urban Development. We appreciate Secretary Marcia Fudge's support of historic preservation and how the adaptive reuse of historic buildings into affordable housing helps build positive relationships and aids in revitalization efforts. Representing Secretary Fudge, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome Arthur Jemison, HUD Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary for Community Planning and Development, to say a few words. Mr. Jemison.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you for the invitation. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Well, I'm thrilled to be here too. I want to thank the Advisory Council that's here and Vice Chairman Tannenbaum for our continuing partnership, recognizing outstanding projects that embody goals we share for historic preservation, affordable housing, and community revitalization. I'm here today on behalf of Secretary Marcia Fudge and the offices of that are part of my office, the offices of Environment and Energy, and also Policy and Development and Research Office, to congratulate the co-owners, the Alexander Company, and our own Housing Authority of the City of Milwaukee, and other partners, supporters, and individuals who made the Milwaukee Soldiers Home project a reality. Veterans homelessness is a critically important issue in the country, and HUD is honored to work alongside organizations like yourselves who are dedicated to ending veteran homelessness and preserving historically important sites. This project involves an innovative partnership with two federal agencies. By utilizing HUD's BASH program and partnering with the Veterans Administration, this project is able to do two things: provide housing choice vouchers to veterans experiencing homelessness, a cap rent so that no veteran pays more than 30% of their household income. It also provides services through the VA for those veterans who are living on site. Underutilized historic buildings are a potential resource for providing affordable housing in cities and rural areas across the country. And this project is an example of adaptive reuse of space. I had a chance to read a little bit about the history of the property, and it's really fascinating that it was a place originally chartered for the rehabilitation and recuperation of soldiers from the Civil War. So it's exciting to see that it's been going back into use for a similar population also. This project's combination of federal and state historic tax credits with low-income housing tax credit is a welcome trend that we're seeing in projects across the country. Rehabilitation of historic buildings is a sustainable way to meet today's needs for affordable housing and community revitalization. The project proves that the past has a value for our future. Reusing a building like this keeps all of its embodied value and all of its embodied history and all of its construction materials in the same place for future understanding of our past and also for the future as we confront the challenges of climate change. We hope that the outstanding success of the Milwaukee Soldiers Home project and others like it will inspire others to look at historic buildings in their communities and imagine the possibilities. Thank you so much for given me a chance to speak on behalf of the Secretary today, and I want to congratulate the project sponsors for their great work revitalizing some critical historic assets. Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Jemison. Thank you very, very much. Much appreciated. Now, moving on, we're honored today to be able to share video remarks from U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin, who has been a longtime proponent of this project.
Hello, I'm Senator Tammy Baldwin, and I'm honored to be here today, even virtually, with our community leaders and our veterans to celebrate the incredible honor of the Milwaukee Soldiers Home receiving the 2021 Advisory Council on Historic Preservation and the Housing and Urban Development Secretary's Award for Excellence in Historic Preservation. I want to first thank ACHP Vice Chairman Jordan Tannenbaum and Arthur Jemison, Housing and Urban Development's Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary for Community Planning and Development, for bringing us all together today. Established in 1867, the Milwaukee Soldiers Home is one of the 3 original soldiers' homes in America. These historic buildings tell a rich story about the role Wisconsin played during the Civil War, and they represent our nation's deep commitment to our veterans and the shared values that we hold dear. In March 2021, the Milwaukee Soldiers Home project was completed, which included the rehabilitation of 6 buildings into 101 housing units for veterans and their families who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. Now we can continue to serve those who have served us. We have a shared responsibility to meet the needs of all veterans who have sacrificed for our country. And this is especially true for homeless, at-risk veterans in need of assistance and support. I was proud to work with the many leaders joined here today to support this project and help make it a reality so we can do right by our veterans and their families. I want to thank the National Equity Fund, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Clement J. Zablocki VA Medical Center, HUD VASH, Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority, and the Center for Veterans Issues, and the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation for all your hard work in not only preserving the significant history of these buildings, but also opening it up to provide much needed housing and support services for our veterans. This project tells an important story about our past, and I was honored to have a part in writing this new chapter, serving our veterans and improving their quality of life. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to join you today for this celebration. Congratulations on this well-deserved honor.
Okay, and now it's my pleasure to go to the chairman of our Communications, Education, and Outreach Committee, Luke Nichter, one of our expert members of the council. Luke?
Thank you, Vice Chairman Tannenbaum. I had the privilege to sit on the award jury, and there were many reasons why we selected this project. One was, as you've already heard, diverse community involvement and commitment to retaining the historic elements of all of the buildings. Another was the wide range of partnerships that you've already heard a little bit about that it took to put this together, from federal, state, and local governments to veterans organizations, right down to private citizens. It was a true labor of love for all involved. But to understand the true impact this project has had in preserving a piece of the area's history and providing vital veteran housing, please watch this next video with me.
The preservation story of the Milwaukee Soldiers Home is one of overcoming obstacles through collaboration, creativity, and perseverance. Established in 1867, the Milwaukee Soldiers Home is one of the earliest branches of the National Home for Disabled Volunteer Soldiers, created by Congress and President Abraham Lincoln to care for volunteer Union soldiers disabled during the Civil War. Part of the Clement J. Zablocki VA Medical Center, the Milwaukee Soldiers Home is listed on the National Register of Historic Places and is a National Historic Landmark. In 2009, the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation undertook a review of the medical center's compliance with Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act. This assessment brought together dedicated partners, including the VA, Wisconsin State Historic Preservation Office, National Park Service, and Milwaukee Preservation Alliance to discuss long-term maintenance and preservation of the campus. In 2010, when efforts began to find a use for 6 historic buildings on campus, the most prominent building, known as Old Main, had been vacant for 20 years and was in disrepair. The other historic buildings included the Administration Building, the Catholic Chaplain's Quarters, and 3 duplexes. In 2011, the National Trust for Historic Preservation named the Soldiers Home to its 11 Most Endangered Historic Places list and elevated it to a national treasure in 2012. Ultimately, through consultation, it was determined these buildings could be reused through VA's Enhanced Use Lease program, which allows private developers to lease and rehabilitate underutilized VA property for veteran-related purposes. A Community Advisory Council of Veterans and related organizations met regularly to explore preservation solutions. Committed stakeholder engagement ensured public involvement throughout the process. Under the leadership of real estate developer the Alexander Company, many partners contributed to save the Soldiers Home. VA was involved in all aspects of the project and continues to provide supportive services. The Housing Authority of the City of Milwaukee is a co-owner and operator. National Equity Fund is a federal tax credit investor member. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development provides HUD vouchers, and Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority provided many financing options. The Alexander Company creatively financed a $44 million project through use of no less than 13 different capital sources, including federal and state historic tax credits. Many other partners, including more than 650 individuals and organizations, donated to the project through a fundraising campaign. Historic preservation, adaptive reuse, affordable housing, community engagement, and economic development were the pillars of this revolutionary redevelopment project. Special efforts were made to retain historic elements, and the rehabilitation complied with the Secretary of the Interior's standards for the treatment of historic properties. All stone, brick, tin ceiling and wall tiles, and historic doors and windows were repaired and restored. Slate was sourced from a quarry in Vermont to match the original slate roof tiles. The wood and terrazzo floors were repaired and refinished, and matching recycled historic wood flooring was used in select areas. The wide central corridor of Old Main was restored to its historic appearance. The Administration Building's tower clock was restored, and Old Main's original pool table was restored for continued veteran enjoyment. The rehabilitation resulted in 101 housing units for veterans and their families who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. This extraordinary project, completed in March 2021, was a true labor of love that brought together a community for the benefit of America's veterans. That is why the Milwaukee Soldiers Home is the 2021 recipient of the ACHP HUD Secretary's Award for Excellence in Historic Preservation.
And now let's go to Milwaukee and Jim Cunningham. Jim?
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Cunningham. I am the Deputy Regional Administrator for HUD's Midwest region out of Chicago. We're happy to be here today to present the AHCP and HUD Award for Historic Preservation. And it's my honor to represent the Secretary and the Department at this ceremony. First, I want to congratulate the Alexander Company, represented by Jonathan Beck. Jonathan, congratulations. Next, I'd like to thank, representing the Housing Authority of the City of Milwaukee, is the great mayor of the great city of Milwaukee, Mayor Tom Barrett. Mayor, congratulations and thanks for your support.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much.
Would you like to say a few words?
Well, first I want to thank you very much, and I want to thank all of you for this incredible award. And I want to thank Jonathan most of all. our partnership, the City of Milwaukee, through our housing authority, which has been led by the president for many, many years,
Next one is free.
has had a great
Two more.
partnership with the Alexander Company. But it doesn't end there. As you saw in the videos, if you are looking for an example of a project that brings together the community, that values our history, that pays tribute to our veterans, and shows that government at all levels can work cooperatively,
What's that?
absolutely the right project.
Oh, that's double punch today?
This has been not only a labor of love, but it is a tremendous architectural and historic achievement to do what has been done to these buildings. And I wish all of you could be here right now to see this in person, because it is not short of amazing to see the transformation that has taken place here. And to know that it has been done to help men and women who have made sacrifices to protect our freedoms, veterans who are homeless or in danger of being homeless, tells you how important it is to have this partnership. So I want to thank the VA, I want to thank HUD, I want to thank everybody who's been involved in this, because it really, really is a great achievement for the people who live here, for the people who helped build this, and again, to preserve the history of this great nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to recognize some of our program partners that are also receiving an award today. So first, from the Department of Veterans Affairs and their Enhanced Use Lease Program, Dr. Dan Zomchek, from the Zablocki VA Medical Center Director. Thank you, Director Zomchek. From the Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Office, Fernando Escobar, Community Lending Officer. Thank you for your partnership from the State Housing Finance Agency. And our Field Office Director from the HUD Milwaukee office, Dale Darrow, accepting for the HUD VASH voucher program. And I would also like to thank our equity partner from the National Equity Fund, Debbie Burkhart, who is joining us virtually. Debbie, if you can say hi.
Hi, thank you, Jim. We're very proud to be partners with the Alexander Company, the City of Milwaukee, and HUD and everyone else. And thank you again for this.
Thank you, Debbie. And lastly, we want to thank some of our other program partners that are here with us today to celebrate. From HUD, our Office of Environment and Energy, David Nuccio is here. From the Alexander Company, Kendra Bishop, who helped us put on this program. From WIDA, Sridhar Rabinhat is here. From the Office of Veterans Affairs, Ray Oshinsky, the Assistant Undersecretary for Health, and Vicki Bram, the Director of the local VISN here in Chicago. And finally, from the Alexander Company, President Joe Alexander could not be with us today, but he leaves us with some remarks. So we'll turn it over to Joe Alexander. Thank you for joining us.
This victory is the result of a decade of hard work by multiple government agencies, private businesses, nonprofits, and thousands of individuals. Under our leadership of the Alexander Company as a developer, many partners contributed to make the final deal that saved the Soldiers Home possible. The result of this collaboration is truly spectacular. As of today, 95 of 101 units at Soldiers Home are providing permanent supportive housing to veterans and their families, with neighboring VA Medical Center providing supported resident services. This housing represents a number of things for our new residents: being in a better place, getting a new start, and continuing on an upward path. This demonstrates the benefits of historic preservation and the success of public-private partnerships to provide additional much-needed supportive housing. It serves as proof that strategic partnerships and creative funding can not just save buildings, but tackle homelessness and serve as a national model. We thank the Advisory Council for Historic Preservation and the Department of Housing and Urban Development for this prestigious award.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Alexander and Mr. Cunningham. And congratulations to the Alexander Company, the City of Milwaukee, and many, many others who contributed to saving this national treasure. I would like to thank the ACHP and HUD staff and jurors for their commitment in selecting an outstanding project for this year's award. For the council, expert members Luke Nichter, Rick Gonzalez, and John Fry. For HUD, the Federal Preservation Officer Nancy Boone, Associate Deputy Assistant Secretary Peter Kahn, and Acting Director, Office of Environment and Energy, Moriel Elorm Chau. Congratulations once again to you at the Milwaukee Soldiers Home today and all of the partners. Thank you for your service in preserving America's rich heritage. And thank you for our Communications Education Outreach Department for putting this all together. And a shout out to Lynn, who coordinated everything. Excellent program. Thank you all.